Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Ann Reardon, and this week we are recreating the Billionaires Soft Serve ice cream that costs £99. And I'm going to get my boys to compare it to a normal choc top ice cream to see which one is better. Apparently it takes 4 hours to make one. Let's do it and see. Ready, set, go. Firstly, some caramel. Put some sugar and some water and some glucose syrup into a pan and stir over high heat until the sugar is dissolved. Wash down the sides of the pan using lots of water and a wet pastry brush. You can see the little sugary granules on the side of the pan here, and if we don't wash those down, once we've made the caramel, it will then crystallize and it won't be like caramel anymore. Then we just leave that to boil unstirred, and that can take a few minutes. So while I'm waiting, because the clock is ticking, I'm going to heat up some passion fruit and then add into that some grated fresh ginger and give it a stir. Once that's nice and hot, I'm just going to turn off the heat. The reason I was heating it up was so that ginger flavour can infuse into the passion fruit liquid. Back to the caramel. Those bubbles have slowed down and it's starting to look golden, so now I'm going to add in the milk. Be careful when you do that you don't get burnt by all the steam that comes off. And I obviously need to swap to a bigger pan. And there we go. Add the cream and give it a stir. Then you want to let that bubble away until it reaches 107 degrees C. Pour it into a heat-proof bowl and sprinkle on some salt. Now I know this looks really runny right now, but trust me, it will thicken up as it cools and it will be perfect. Because I'm trying to make this quickly, I'm going to put the bowl in a sink of cold water to take out the heat faster. Water is really good at drawing the heat out of things. Back to our passion fruit and ginger. I'm going to strain that through a sieve because I don't want the seeds and I don't want those little chunks of ginger. Just stir it with a spoon to get as much of the liquid through as possible, and then that looks pretty good. Pour that into a blender and add a tin of mango. Puree them together until it's smooth, and then tip it into a Ziploc bag, flattening it out so that it can chill faster, and put that into the freezer just to get it really cold. Now for the ice cream. Heat the milk in a pan, and all these recipe quantities are on the howtocookthat.net website for you, so you can make it at home too. Instead of using sugar, I'm going to use some of the salted caramel that we just made, and that will make the soft serve that salted caramel flavour that we're after. Whisk that together with the egg yolks, and then whisk that into the hot milk. Now technically you should really add some of the hot milk into the yolks first to temper them, but if you whisk really fast you can get away with doing it this way, and I'm in a hurry. Heat that up to 78 degrees centigrade or 178 degrees F, and then remove it from the heat and add in the cream. And again, because I want this to chill quickly, I'm going to pour it into a Ziploc bag, place it flat in the freezer. Moving on to the chocolate sorbet. Oh my goodness, I've used up 40 minutes of my time already. Okay, put the water into a pan and add some sugar and cocoa powder and whisk that over the heat. This makes a really dark chocolate sorbet. If you didn't want it quite so dark, then you could leave out some of the cocoa, I guess. And yes, you guessed it, once that's all ready, pour it into a bag so that it can cool quickly. The mango ginger passion fruit mixture is now chilled enough so I can cut off the corner and add it into the ice cream bowl to churn. Now I will save a little bit of this mixture for the sauce because that was also mango passion fruit and ginger flavoured, so I'm assuming it's the same thing. It tastes really good as it is. While that's churning, I need to move on, so let's make the macarons. Sift together the almond meal and icing sugar, and then whip together the egg whites, sugar and red food colouring until you get stiff, dry peaks. Add the almond meal mixture and fold the two together until it looks the thickness of slowly flowing lava. Pipe that onto lined baking trays. Now I've got enough mixture to make 3 trays of macaron shells. I only need 2 shells per ice cream, so this is eating into my time. I don't even know if they make their own shells at the ice cream place or if they just buy them, but anyway, bang the tray on the bench to smooth the tops and get rid of any air bubbles and bake them. Time to check on the mango sorbet. That's ready, so I'm just going to put that in a container in the freezer. Now put the chocolate gelato on to churn. This is actually a second ice cream bowl. I have more than one of these. You can't just use the same one twice unless it's been back in the freezer. It has to be really cold or it's not actually going to work. To make a chocolate spoon with a pattern, you're going to need to cut out some chocolate transfer sheet and you'll need a spoon mold, of course. Add some tempered chocolate. Now, I'm making enough to make one for everyone in the family because on Saturday nights during lockdown, we've been having a movie night at home with homemade choc tops. Melbourne has had the longest lockdown in the world, apparently, so we've been entertaining ourselves. Time to decorate the cones. Now, the lady at the shop said it takes 20 minutes to make one of these. Now, I agree it is time consuming because you have to place each decoration separately with a pair of tweezers. I found that if you put it on its side and you can kind of drop each one on rather than trying to hold it in place till it sets, it is much quicker. And I can do one of these in about 6 minutes rather than 20 minutes. But how much time have I got left on my timer? 37 minutes, what? There's so much more left to do. Okay, white chocolate salted caramel truffles. I would normally make my own truffle cases, but theirs looked like they'd bought them. You can buy hollow truffle shells like this from chocolate companies and then just fill them yourself. This is, of course, the salted caramel that we made at the very start. So we'll just fill each of those up and then you just close off the base with a bit more tempered white chocolate. I would, of course, prefer these in milk chocolate instead of white chocolate, but I just don't love white chocolate. What's your preference? Milk, dark, white? Let me know in the comments. Oh gosh, I'm cutting this fine. The ice cream needs to churn for 15 minutes. I should have put this on earlier. Go, go, go. Okay, while that's churning, I need to make the pecan brittle. Put some sugar into a pan with a little bit of water. Let it boil. Wash down the sides of the pan with water just like we did before, and while this is boiling, put the pecans into an oven to warm while we wait for this to go golden. And then when it's ready, pour it over the pecans. Having the nuts and the tray hot just gives you a little bit longer to stir this around and make sure they're all covered. It does start to set pretty quickly though, so you don't have long. Chuck some isomalt into a pan and melt it, and then pour it into a diamond-shaped mould and level it off. Oh no, I was so close. Well, sort of. I'm nearly up to assembly. Can I finish it off? Yes, I'm going to keep going. Alright, get the pecan brittle and chop it into smaller bits, and then put some caramel on a flake and wrap it in 100% pure gold leaf. Now, make sure you don't use gold leaf that's for art because that often contains other heavy metals that are dangerous for us to eat. Gold itself we don't digest, it just goes straight through. It is tasteless, so it has no function except for just to look pretty. Take the isomalt diamonds out of their mould. Isomalt also has no taste, so this is just for looks too. Dip the top of the macaron shell into some white chocolate and then add those isomalt diamonds on top and sprinkle with edible glitter. Gently take the spoons out of the mould and remove the transfer sheet. The patterns on these transfer sheets are just coloured cocoa butter. Our ice cream is now churned and all the parts are finally ready to assemble. Put the peanut brittle into the base of the cone. This is really yummy, you should just make yourself some of this. Then pipe in some salted caramel soft serve. Add a ball of mango sorbet, followed by a ball of dark chocolate sorbet. I have a whole tub of this stuff and we only needed a little ball. Top with a generous amount of salted caramel ice cream. Apparently the finished one should weigh 300 grams and I think we're going to make that really easily. Add the gold coated flake and a spoon. It's quite tricky to get these in because of those sorbet balls that are under the ice cream. Now a pipette of mango, ginger and passion fruit sauce. Add a white chocolate salted caramel truffle. A diamond encrusted macaron and another sheet of gold right on the top. Now that did take me 4.5 hours to make one soft serve ice cream, but now that I have all those elements made, making a second one only takes 10 minutes. I'll get my boys to rate these in a minute, but first a word from today's sponsor, the LG X Boom Go PL2 Jelly Bean speakers. You can get these in sour lemon, bubblegum or ice mint. They're partnered with Meridian, so the speakers give a balanced and clear sound. And let me show you something cool though. You only need one of these, but if you happen to buy two, you can have your music playing on one, and you can play that from songs on whatever music service you use. And then if you press this little button on the inside of each one, and then just wait a second, then you can pair them together for dual play and double the output. If you want to turn the volume up, press it on one and it goes up on both and down. Or you can of course control it from your phone. If you press sound boost, it seems to boost the bass on both to give a bit more of a party sound. And if you pause it so you can talk, it pauses on both of them. They've got 10 hours of battery life and a splash proof, so you can use them by the pool. Okay, let's see how the boys rate the Billionaires Soft Serve. What rating would you give it out of 10?
I really love the pecans at the bottom, so I'd probably give it an 8.5.
The dark chocolate sorbet was a hit, and the ginger in it was a nice touch as well. I think I'd give it an 8.
I really liked the flake, so I think I would give it a 7 out of 10.
The Billionaires Soft Serve costs £99.
£99, that's like $200. That's insane.
Pounds?
That's crazy expensive.
That is an awful amount of money.
Now to see if you think it's worth even half of that price. As you know, normally on a Saturday movie night, we would have a homemade choc top. What if next Saturday night you could have another Billionaires ice cream? Or you could have a choc top and an LG X Boom Go PL2 jelly bean.
Oh, I'd take the speaker for sure.
What colour?
The ice mint one. That looks good.
Ice mint it is.
Thank you. Very nice.
I think I would prefer to have the normal choc top and the jelly bean speaker.
Wise boy. What colour would you like?
Watermelon.
Watermelon is a limited edition one. You actually can't buy this at the shops. They just sent one of those to us. And here's your choc top.
Definitely the jelly bean and the choc top.
What colour would you like?
Oh, I would like the sour lemon one, thanks. I thought that one looked really sick.
Sour lemon and a choc top. Perfect, that leaves me with the bubblegum, and I am going to run a competition for my patrons to give the bubblegum one away. So if you are a patron, make sure you go over to the patron page and enter the competition there. If you're not a patron, you can join them. And I do want to say thank you to all of my patrons for being so wonderful, and thank you for all of your support. I really appreciate it. You can check out more indulgent desserts here. Make it a great week by being kind to others, and I'll see you on Friday.